Hey, hello everyone. It is time for show and tell here on Adafruit. I'm John Park, your guest host tonight, and I'm really excited for the show that we have coming up. It is going to be hot, and partly that is because it is 106 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now here in Southern California. What the hell? All right. Enough of that. I'm going to drink some cold water and bring on our first guest, which is DigiKeys, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
Did you almost say Digifruit?
I kind of did. Did you hear?
I like the ring. That sounds great.
The heat is getting to me already.
No,
what's new?
So I just got back from Silicon, which was fantastic. It was absolutely incredible, and we did a few things there. We did a workshop where we created an Iron Man arc reactor based off the Circuit Playground Express.
Cool.
And that was a lot of fun. And then we actually created where all of the DigiKey employees wore this arc reactor. It might glow a little bit, but I have this connected to my phone. So it's connected over Bluefruit, the Bluefruit Connect app. And then I can change the different colors. And I even have it connected with a Bluetooth device. I don't know if you heard the speaker, but
yeah.
So if I push one of these buttons, it'll change the settings on the device, and then it will play some cool little Iron Man sayings. That it was just kind of fun. Yeah, you have the speaker on your hip, and then play some cool things.
Neato. And what's the case? It looks like you've is that actually wire wrapped, or is it?
Yeah, it is actually magnet wire wrapped.
That's
I
cool.
did that just to make it look pretty realistic-ish.
That's excellent.
And I know the lighting it's hard to see it. Cameras wash everything out. But
and
basically,
so there's a workshop of this.
Well, what was that?
Was this a workshop people could do?
So the workshop one was a little different. It was a little more simplistic just because to do this one would have taken a few hours in a workshop. But I think I might do that next year just because people were so interested in this device. Cool. So this device is using the Bluefruit Circuit Playground. Mm-hmm. And then I also have another neopixel ring around the outside just to add two different dimensions. And it just looks so cool. I mean, people really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed making it.
Excellent. Oh, it's really cool. And for people who don't know, what's Silicon?
So Silicon was the Silicon Valley's Comic-Con. That's what they call it. It was Silicon with Adam Savage. And there was an entire Makerverse, and they call it the Adam Savage Makerverse, right in the middle of the whole thing. And basically, we donated a bunch of items, and other companies donated things, and people could just sit down and make stuff.
That's great.
That was so awesome watching. Adam Savage said it perfect. After the first day, he goes, I have never been so excited to see such a mess because people were just
That's terrific.
Creating really cool things. And there were some amazing costumes and creations. Some of these people that make droids from Star Wars, and one guy made Wall-E that was just unbelievable. Oh, we had just such a good time talking to these people, these makers, and how can we get more products like Adafruit products and DigiKey products into these devices? And we had a whole bunch of the Circuit Playground Expresses that we were just giving away to people when they came to the booth and were talking to us. And the amount of functionality in one of those devices is unbelievable. You guys know what it is. You can program it with MakeCode, CircuitPython, Arduino, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's an excellent entry for cosplay types of people.
Right.
Find a lot out there for
and we were showing them, it's got the accelerometer and the light sensor and temperature sensor. Everything's built into one device, so it was great.
That's so much fun. Well, I hope to make it there next year. It sounds like it was a great time.
Yeah, you should. I think you would really enjoy it. It was a good time. It was great to see you, JP.
Thanks so much. Take care, Kevin.
Take care.
All right. Next up, we've got Michael. Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Hello.
So what do you got to show us this evening?
Okay, so I've come on to talk about the Pi 5 ASIC project that I've been working on for the last year and a half or so. A small team, community organized project. The goal of the project is to bring on our design a chip based on RISC-V that's going to run CircuitPython. So this chip right here in the middle is a custom silicon that was made specifically for the project. Skywater and Google and eFabless put together an open PDK, which is a process design kit. So what that means is people can design chips without having to pay or sign any NDAs or anything. You can just download the tools and go, and you can make your own chips, which is unheard of, is a new thing.
Incredible.
It's really awesome. And as soon as I saw that, I guess it was 2020 early, I jumped on it and I went to Twitter. It was like, yes, everybody, I want to do this. I want to make something. Who wants to be on my team? And eventually I nerd-sniped a few community members. So the biggest collaborator so far and pretty much the workhorse of the project is Sylvain Minot, which is TNT is his handle. He's a hacker extraordinaire, kind of, real big name in the community. And he stepped up and he hardened his IP for USB, which is it used to be a specific requirement of CircuitPython. And we took that from Verilog to GDS, which is the format that you use to, give the chip factory, the specifications for your chip. It's like the Gerbers for chips. And and it was a battle with the tools and the open PDK and a lot of different things. But the project eventually was taped out. One of the first 40 chips that were taped out for free on the shuttle. And then we found out not too long after that when we got the chips delivered, they weren't functional. Or they weren't supposed to be functional. So there was a hold time violation in the timing, and that means usually like the death of chips. Hold times are really difficult to fix post silicon, but we created this carrier board here. Anyways, I helped do the layout for the board that's here, which is the breakout board for the chip. And then I designed this board, which breaks it out even further. And then on this side over here, we attached an FPGA and then emulated the serial flash through the FPGA so that we could run a handful of instructions on this guy while being able to change the core voltages or the voltages of the chip and sweep them along and try to get it to come into time enclosure. And there was some chips you could actually sweep the voltage and find closure enough to run programs off of the emulated SPI flash. So we actually had TNT went on and did a fairly long stream about how we went through that process. And
people, we're going to have to cut it for time, but if people want to find out more about the project, then certainly we'd love to have you come on and show more in the future. Where should they go to find out more?
Yeah, so we're doing a crowdfunding effort to try to help pay for the development. And you can go to groupkits.com/campaigns /1038-pi5-asic. It's kind of a mouthful.
But I think even just searching Pi5 ASIC will get people close.
Yeah, and there was a whole lot that happened, and there's a narrative here on the page that tells kind of all of the story from where we were into more recently. MPW7 is coming out or is landing soon. Then they got to send it off to fab. Tiny tape out was the big thing this one, and I hope to see that come through as well. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this on, Michael, and keep us updated. We'd love to see more, and I think you have some other projects too that we want to see, maybe even next week if you can come by.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, custom silicon. This is wild, beyond PCBs. It's incredible. Let's see. Next up, we have Noah and Pedro coming on, and no, we have Noah. We have no Pedro. We have Noah. Hey, Noah.
Pedro's walking the dog.
Yeah, right. Good for you.
Yeah, we alternate, so that's how we get the things.
Excellent.
So this week's project is a 3D printed case. We got a little Raspberry Pi. Well, not a little, but we got a Raspberry Pi in this little. Oh man, I keep saying the word little. Maybe it is a little. It's small.
Cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea here is to use an SSD drive, an external SSD, and have that be a bootable drive so that we can run it off the USB port. So we got one of these SATA to USB 3 cables. So we're getting some really good speeds, reads, and I want to say feeds and speeds. That's CNC's talk. So
yeah.
Bear with me. But we got a lot of cool features. We got some GIFs running on this TFT. So it's a 1.9 inch TFT, and it's using the Blinker wrapper. So you can use CircuitPython libraries when you're using a Raspberry Pi. I got some hardware buttons up here, so you can change these out and you can switch to these.
Nice.
So we got.
And
these
you're
GIFs.
also running HDMI over to that monitor. Hey, look, there's Doom Guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I am running HDMI. So it's just all the basic ports here. So you got HDMI, USB-C for power. You got an auto jack and other things there. But really, that's kind of it that we're doing there. Yeah. So I have the HDMI display here, and we're using Plex, which is some software that you can install over the Chromium browser. And you can run it in kiosk mode. Yeah, so you can do live stream TV. You can play all your videos that you have on the SSD drive. So I have a bunch of our Adafruit videos here. But it can tie into Netflix and Hulu and those other services. Some other fun things you can do with the display, other than playing Doom Guy. We can do some actual useful stuff. Let's see here. So this is the CPU temperature, the IP address, and some memory and disk usage. You can see it's kind of hot there. Let's see, what is 66C to F? It is 150 Fahrenheit. So it's a little bit hotter in the Pi than it is over there. But I also have this fan, which I might need to put somewhere else. But hey, it's not bad.
And as
you
far
can
as
always put a fan on top.
As far as SSD over USB 3, is that comparable to running the operating system off of an SD card? Is it way faster? Like, what's the trade-offs, or is it just an improvement over the typical? Because you're booting right off of that SSD, right?
Right. Yeah. I think there's some actual data that you could look at that Tom's Hardware has. That's actually the guide that I followed for making it a bootable drive. But yeah, in their testing, they show that it was pretty good. It was better performance than just running it off the SSD. But I still have the SSD back there, so if you want to access that, you can put a little SD expander there.
That's
so kind of have access to it. Did I mention the little handle? You got to have a handle.
The handle is adorable. It's so cute. And there's a guide out for this already. Yeah, people can go check that out.
Yeah, it's published up there. We got files up there, and there's some code on our Learn repo. So if folks want to use the code there for the display, they can do that. But yeah, all the wiring and files are up there on the Learn guide.
Great.
So folks got a Raspberry Pi. Thank you.
And
go ahead.
Gonna cut us off just because we're running a little low on time. We have quite a few other people, but thanks so much for bringing that on.
Yeah, of course.
And appreciate it. All right, see you later, Noah. All right, next up we have Liz. Hey, Liz.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Oh, good. So this week I did a project with Arduino and Unity. So what's happening, just really quick, is it's sending 9DOF sensor, which is accelerometer, magnetometer, gyroscope data over serial to Unity, and then that data is tied to this 3D object, this bunny. So the bunny is moving around in unison with the sensor in space.
That's great.
And I actually went through and calibrated the 9DOF sensor, so there's stored calibration data on the board, and we have a guide for that. And
Oh,
that
nice.
calibrated Euler stuff is what's getting sent to Unity, which is actually the kind of rotation measurements that Unity expects. So there is a guide on this if folks want to check it out.
Super cool. And sorry, the board you're running in there is what's the?
So I tested it on a couple different boards. Right now I'm using the Metro Mini V2, but I also have a mounting plate for the Metro M4, and it can run on a Feather or a Cutie Pie too, since it's Arduino. So an M0 or an M4 processor works best, but the 328 can do the smallest calibration model.
That's excellent. And yeah, you said there's a guide out for people who want to learn more and grab a teapot instead of a bunny or whatever they want to throw into Unity.
Exactly. Robots, cats, the options are limited, really.
That's great. Really nicely done. Thanks so much for sharing that, Liz.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right. Very cool. Let's see. Next up, we've got maker Melissa. Melissa.
Hello. So I have a couple of these TFTs combined here. And if you want to go ahead and share my screen, I basically have been working on this for like the last month or so. And I'm at code.circuitpython.org. So one of the cool things I'm doing is I'm trying to make it so you can kind of work without it necessarily being connected. So I'm going to just type a quick document here. Let's say like this is my little script. And then something like, I don't want to lose this. And let's say, oh, I'm not connected to the board, so I want to connect. And I go ahead and I choose the connection I want. For this one, I'm going to show you Wi-Fi. And the way that the web workflow works is it has to be hosted on the device itself. So I go ahead and I click here. And it goes and it transfers, and it goes and transfer my document onto there, and it has changed the URL to the device itself.
Cool.
And then I also have device discovery working here.
Wow.
So you can see what you have currently here, plus any other devices. So if I wanted to switch over to this one, I click it, and it'll also transfer my file there too. And I haven't even saved it yet.
That's fantastic.
Thanks. So I'm going to work on a guide on this probably this next week.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that guide. I can't wait to try this out. The web workflow stuff is kind of mind-blowing. So thanks for all the hard work you're putting into it. And
no worries.
Very cool. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks.
All right, next up we got Jepler. Hey, Jepler.
Hi there. So I forget if I mentioned this on Show and Tell, but I have a friend who is moving away, and he has given me a bunch of cool stuff. And so I was looking at this keyboard that he gave me. Pardon my dust. It's been stored in the basement for a long time. And I thought, oh, cool, a Commodore 64 keyboard. Mm-hmm. And then I looked a little closer, and I'm like, what is with these keys? So this is actually a Commodore 16 keyboard. Ooh. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a little niche. No. It was a little later on. And then in the meeting just earlier that we were having less than an hour ago, I said, well, why don't I make this keyboard working? So I can't quite get the keyboard here. Here we go. Got it hooked up to a keyboard with RP2040. And now if you want to bring up my screen share.
Wow. And you
so like just in the space of since we were in our meeting earlier, I wired it up and I'm getting the key presses.
Half hour ago.
And I didn't expect that I would be able to show you that. But yeah, so now I've just got to map out the keys, and I'll be able to use this classic keyboard like on a modern computer through USB, and that'll be an awesome like evening project. How about that?
Oh, that's really cool. You know what I would love to know is if you have any tips, maybe you could write up a little something somewhere about figuring out that matrix, going from, hey, I have this thing, to I need to figure out how to plug it in and sort of or map out the topology of the matrix.
Yeah, so it's got like 20 pins here, and there's actually one that's wrong. Don't tell anybody. I was trying to hide that live on the show. There's one that's wrong, but yeah, you got to figure out the rows and the columns and just noodle with it until it's right. That's about it.
Really good. That takes me hours. I've done it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nicely done. Oh, thanks so much for bringing that on. That's really impressive. And,
thank you.
And have fun with your weird semaphore legends on there, too, besides the crazy arrow keys.
Yeah, if we had more time, I'd show you another thing with an LED, but Lamore's going to talk about that during Ask an Engineer, so that's cool too.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have PaintYourDragon.
Gosh, hi there. I'm in the dark
Hi.
here. That's on purpose. I just wanted to mention I was at Silicon, had a great time. The genius thing with that Makerverse right in the middle of it is it was one of the few places you could go to sit down. And so it's like, hey, there's stuff right in front of me, you know, when you're kind of relaxing, and you get to make things while you're there.
That's smart.
That was clever, yeah. Anyway, so I did that LED cube project a little while back that reacted to gravity or whatever, and there was this really hard math problem I had to solve. But once it was solved, it's like I should be able to apply this to other shapes or whatever. So this is just an ugly prototype, but I made like a Rainstick type of thing.
Ooh. Yeah.
So
great.
We'll see. Maybe I'll turn this into a project guide or not. Yeah. I don't know, but I needed to at least prototype the idea to see if it was at least kind of fun to play with.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about it as far as what's driving it with all these LEDs from a microcontroller standpoint or a Pi standpoint.
Yeah, I'm using a ESP32 Feather, the S3. No reason other than that's just what was right in front of me on the desk. But it could work, any of the 32-bit microcontrollers would have enough sauce to do this sort of thing. And I happened to use the neopixelate Featherwing because it's like, oh, this looks like it's going to be a lot of pixels. And it turned out, no, it's like fast enough. I could have just done it as one big long noodle of LEDs. And if I make a bigger high resolution version, then I might want to do the neopixelate thing. But if the final thing was just this resolution, it's like one long strand would suffice.
And then tell us about the incredible DSP or other digital technologies you're using to recreate that perfect sound of a Rainstick.
The audio, right? So this it's super technical. So I might lose you here, but I was thinking about like mathematically how you would do that, and someone on Twitter actually gave me the answer, and it's just stick a rabbit inside there. So that was the quick solution.
That's the win.
The code version later, but.
Beautiful.
Needed something for the demo.
Works great. I love it.
So
we're looking forward. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing progress on that, and as you refine it or do a guide on it, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, if it turns out to be something fun, I'll turn this into a guide so others
like
can
a fun
make
form factor for the type of sand type of demo you've done.
Yeah,
people love particles, myself included. That's really cool. Thanks, Phil.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's see. Next up, we got Todbot here. And
hello. Yeah, so I saw this really cool post on the ESP32 subreddit where this guy made this really long neopixel display, and each strip of the LEDs was a MIDI note, basically. So this is my afternoon recreating this, and hopefully you can hear the audio. And so if you turn on the arpeggiator, it becomes very fun.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh wait, I forgot the diffuser.
Yeah.
There we go. Gotta have the diffuser so it doesn't blow it out.
So you were sending MIDI out to a synth somewhere, and you're sending MIDI to your Pico. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. This is a USB device. This is a USB device. It's a Pico. We're running CircuitPython, and then there's Ableton Live off camera that's running. That's basically acting as a MIDI router and playing the synthesizer sound, so you can, or just. So yeah, that's it. I'll post a link to the code in the Discord.
Love that, and that should scale up to all kinds of different LED setups people have with grids and.
Totally. Yeah.
Like that. Really fun. Yeah. All right. So. And Todd will post a link up there. Thanks, Todd.
Cheers. See ya.
All right. Next up, speaking of synths, we have Mouse.
Hi. Okay, so I've been working on this modular synth for a while. I showed off parts of it before.
Yeah.
But, if we follow the flying wires here, I have a prototype I'm working on for a digital FM synth module. And that's a Feather RP2040 with a digital analog converter chip and a dual op-amp chip. And it's all hooked up. So I'm going to try to play something. It's got a wonky setup here, so I don't know if it'll hear it, but let's see. Did that come through at all?
Nice, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's I wrote a bunch of firmware in C++ for the Feather, and got it doing some FM synthesis. It's a long way from being done, but so far so good.
That's great. So you're doing, did you say it was a 2-operator FM?
It is 2-operator. It sounds kind of bad, and that's how you know it's FM.
It's hard to tame. That's how you know it's FM.
Yeah, I mean, I used a fixed frequency modulation, so it would be very clear it was FM.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope to get a single voice with 6 operators, DX7 style. I'm not quite sure that I can. Well, I did some benchmarks. I think the Feather can handle it. We'll see.
Wow. Yeah, that would be really cool. Thanks so much for bringing that on. Really impressive work. I love it. We'll see you when you've added more operators to that, I hope.
Yep, indeed. Anytime I have some Adafruit. Oh, by the way, thanks Adafruit for the Eurorack to oscilloscope adapter cables.
Oh yes, those are really helpful. I use them as well. I think we got them originally in at the request of some accessibility people to do Circuit Playground, which has the big pads to accessibility switches, which happen to use mono 3.5 millimeter as a bit of a standard for connecting buttons and switches and things. So that was their original intent, but they're super useful if you have to go from Eurorack to.
I also bought some step switches because they're old school synth stuff. And balloons that match my modules. So I got some.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Mouse.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, and I think last up we have Anne, who can bring us home. Hey, Anne.
Hi, I had the opportunity to participate in a NASA program called NASA Social. They invited me to Kennedy Space Center this weekend to get some briefings and watch a launch. And hopefully I can show some pictures real quick if you share the screen. And so we got some briefings from astronauts. We got to see the countdown clock, and there's SpaceX right there. And yours truly got to.
That's a great photo.
And we got the vehicle assembly building, the iconic where they build Apollo and shuttle, and now Artemis. And so they actually let us go in, and it's huge. It's beautiful. They make rockets. I mean, what's not to like in here, So after that, we got to talk to the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson, former Senator Nelson, and he gave us the scoop on things. And then we got to look at Artemis 1 itself. So they drove us a lot closer, and we got some good pictures. And we were hoping for the launch. And on the way back, we saw the crawler transporter, the biggest vehicle in the world that's self-powered. It gets a whole 34 feet to the gallon of diesel. It is beautiful. It is huge. It can carry 18 million pounds worth of rocket and tower and everything.
Wow.
So, we got to do some fun things too. And finally, if I can do this, let's see.
Yeah.
Little spinny action here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
great slideshow. That was really fun.
So if you want to possibly do this kind of stuff with NASA, Google NASA Social or Twitter @NASA Social, and I highly recommend it.
Way cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was super special. Thank you, Anne. All right, and that brings us right to 5 o'clock. So it is time for Ask an Engineer. Stick around for that on all of your usual Adafruit channels. Thanks, everyone. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries. This has been Show and Tell. See you next time. Bye-bye.